Well, what a beautiful song that is. Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. What is that something that makes a woman irresistible? What is it about a woman that evokes a man's full desire and devotion? That's what this course is all about. So hello there, my name is Roy Biancalana, and welcome to The Radiant Woman, Evoking a Man's Full Devotion. Now, poet Maya Angelou, you saw in that poem there that I had opening this segment, calls her a phenomenal woman. I am calling her a radiant woman. But no matter what name you give her, men notice her, men seek to know her, and ultimately, they desire to claim her heart completely. So the radiant woman lives as love's light, shining a beauty that is beyond physical. And men, or your man, depending on your situation, find them to be irresistible. It evokes in them their complete devotion and commitment. So this radiance is not physical. It's not a physical beauty in the normal way that we think of physical beauty. In fact, one of the people in Hollywood that I think is the most radiant is Queen Latifah. And she certainly is not a person who's got a runway, model type of persona to her. But I think you ever see her in public and an award show or something like that, that woman beams. So it's not about how full your lips are, about how high your cheekbones are, about how flawless your skin is. It's not about your age, your dress, how you dress, or your dress size. So it's not physical, but it can be physically seen. Radiance is about your shine. It's about the energy. It's something in the way you move. Maya Angelou said, for her, it's the fire in my eyes, it's the flash of my teeth, it's the swing in my waist, it's the joy in my feet. Radiance is really about your willingness to open to love and to allow it to flow freely through your body. Let me say that again. It's about your willingness to open to love and to allow it to flow freely through your body. Now let me clarify a little bit about who this course is for. This is for any woman of any age or any relationship status and any sexual orientation. But because of its communication, I'm going to be speaking in terms of the normal heterosexual thing. But I want you to know that it's for any woman that wants to evoke the deepest devotion from their partner. But for communication's sake, I'm going to be speaking about men and women. And so I ask you, if you are not heterosexual and you're watching this course, to just cut me some slack in the terms, but you'll see how it applies to your love life just as well. Now, I want you to know my heart in this, because whether you're single or you're in a relationship, whether you're gay or straight, whether you're 20-something or 60-something, whether you're a size 0 or some other size, I want you to have a superior man/partner. I want you to have someone who's on purpose in their lives, who has a strength of presence in your lives that comes from his heart and is a man of passion. And I want you to have that kind of man devoted to you. That's why I'm making this course. I want you to have that man who sees you and knows you and claims you as his woman. A man who's fully into you and stays into you for your entire life. Too many women are not experiencing that with men. They're not experiencing men that are devoted to them and their lives. They more often experience men who are distracted or distant or disinterested or disconnected or maybe disappearing altogether. You know, for example, single women, I work with them a lot in my coaching practice, and they often said, you know, I meet guys and they seem interested, but they don't pursue me. Or if they do get my number, they don't call. And then sometimes they say, well, you know, I've been on a few dates with him, but he doesn't seem that eager to, you know, keep going with me. Or after a few dates, they don't take their profiles down. Or maybe we date a number of times, and all of a sudden he pulls a Houdini and just disappears completely off the face of the earth. Sometimes my clients say to me that, you know, we've been dating, we've been going a while, but he doesn't seem like he wants to go to the next level. Okay? So those are all expressions of how men can be not devoted. But it's not just limited to single women. Married women have very similar experiences. Married women sometimes share with me that they feel invisible. I mean, not physically, but they feel emotionally invisible. It's like when they come to their man with, you know, emotional matters, or they want to talk about their relationship or something that they're feeling, you know, his eyes kind of glaze over and roll back in his head, or he just dismisses the whole thing altogether, or just says, you know, go talk to one of your girlfriends about that, and he disappears into his man cave. Sometimes married women say, you know, I think he sees me as the mother of his children, but not the light of his life. He seems to be more interested in sports or TV or porn than he is in me. And speaking of sex, they often report that, you know, he wants it, but he doesn't seem to want me. So I say all this stuff, I'm not trying to depress you, but just to state the obvious, that far too many women are experiencing men as anything but devoted. And it really doesn't have to be that way. You really can have a man who's not distant, but engaged. Who's not disconnected, but enthralled. You can have a man who's enchanted with you, who's eager to spend time with you, who's excited about your relationship. You can have a man that really wants to penetrate your life, who wants to penetrate your heart, who wants to penetrate your body with his purpose and his passion and his presence. You can have a man who wants to sing about you. There's something about you that attracts me like no other lover. There is a way for you to evoke a man's full devotion, and it all stems from your ability to discover and display your radiance. Now, here's how it can be if you take this course and you really apply the things that I'm going to share with you throughout it. When you have emotional moments and you want to connect with your man or your husband around something, he doesn't run or recoil, but he stays present with you and is able to process with you and hold that space with you. You're not mom, you're his woman. He values your intuition and your insight in decisions that he's making and things that he's facing in his life. When he needs healing or renewing, like for instance, I've been working my butt off all week getting prepared for this. I spent like 16 hours yesterday preparing for this eCourse. And I actually told my wife yesterday, you know, come this evening when I'm all done recording all this, I just want to put myself in her hands. I want her to prepare an evening for me because I'm just worn out. And I know I will be worn out by the end of the day. And so I'm coming to her when I need renewal, when I need refreshing, when I need rejuvenation, instead of calling my buddies up and going out and pounding a few beers and coming home and jerking off to some porn. Okay? So she is my source of feminine rejuvenation. And you can be with a man who's like that, but also wants to support your expression and expansion in the world. And you can be with a man who feels you are his inspiration of his entire life and who ravishes you sexually, not for his own release, but for your own pleasure and surrender. And I wonder if you feel like you're even worthy of such a thing. I wonder if you feel worthy of a man being devoted like that to you. Because that's the whole ball game right there. Before we talk about how to discover and display your radiance, you have to feel like you deserve it. Like it's your birthright. And that's where we start. Now, there are a couple of objections that might come up around this course. And the first one is we talk about evoking a man's full devotion. And the danger might be that this course is all about what do men want and what do I have to do to be a certain way, do a certain thing, look a certain way in order to get them to want me. Okay? This course is not about that at all. This course is not about becoming a chameleon, about morphing into some man's image or my image for you. This course is about you discovering who you already are. You are a radiant woman. You are a goddess. This course is not about you becoming something for men. It's so far from that. And you'll see as we go on. This course is about you becoming who you already are. And it just so happens that when you are your radiant self, when you are free and alive and flowing with your feminine energy, it just so happens that that's what we're attracted to. So everybody wins. But this is not about you becoming something for men. I mean, I wrote a whole book about getting out of that you complete me mindset. So that's not it at all. Let me give you a little bit of a metaphor that we're going to use throughout this course. It's sort of like this. You know, the sun in the sky, it's always shining, right? It's always shining. It's just sometimes we turn away from it, meaning the earth rotates, and we turn away from the sun, or there's clouds blocking it. Well, that's how it is with your radiance. You're shining. It's just sometimes you've turned away from it, or there's stuff in your life that's just blocking the shine, that's darkening and dimming your radiance. So this course is about you recognizing who you are and then removing all that junk that might be keeping you from shining and being the radiant woman that every man wants. Because men are just attracted to radiance. Now, the second objection. How can a guy tell women about being radiant? Okay? Now, on one level, you're probably beyond that because you are taking the course. But there might be some little resistance in you in that, so I think I should just address that for a minute. Well, I think there's three reasons why I'm an ideal person. One, I've spent most of my entire adult life learning about masculine-feminine dynamics, which is what all this course is about. So I've devoted my life to understanding women, as impossible as that is, and men and the interaction and what attracts us to one another. Okay, so it's my life's mission to do that. Secondly, I'm a guy. I'm kind of a customer. I'm interested in radiant women. I'm a devoted man to my wife, so I think I've got a perspective. Again, we're not talking about whatever men want, but on the other hand, I am a user. I am a customer of that. And then lastly, I work with men and women all day, and they talk to me about what they want and don't want, what they like and don't like, what they're attracted to and what they aren't. I often joke I'm a little bit like that character in the movie, Mel Gibson movie, where he was like, What Women Want. Remember that movie where he can read women's minds? Well, in a sense, I can't read anybody's minds, but because I talk to women and men all day, every day about their love lives and their relationships and themselves, I got a pretty good insight into what we're wanting from each other and what hinders us from giving that to one another and experiencing the kind of intimacies that we both want. Okay? Now, let me finish up this segment here and just kind of give you a little map of where we're going. Okay, there's 7 modules in this course, so it's a monster. But this is a monster topic about being a radiant woman. So the first module here is all about some really fundamental, foundational matters. The second module is all about masculine, feminine dynamics. The third one, we get into what it means, what radiance really means. I mean, we give you some real good pictures of what it is. And I even share some personal things from my life with my wife in terms of what it is. The fourth module is probably my favorite. It's all about the practical aspects of how to display it, how to discover your radiance, how to raise your dimmer switch, right? How to turn the brightness up in your life. The fifth module is going to be a Q&A session where I just have a bunch of questions that I get from women all the time about relationships themselves, men, and that kind of thing. You'll love that. And then module number 6, I'm going to interview my coach. Her name is Diana Chapman. And she is one of the best expressions of what it means to be a radiant woman in the world. My wife would not come on camera. She wants no part of the camera. But Diana Chapman is an unbelievable expression of radiance, and we're going to have a good long conversation about all the kind of matters we're talking about in this course. You're going to love that segment. And then number 7 is I'm going to have a panel discussion with 3 men, 3 good, solid men that most women are actually hoping for. These men are on purpose. They have a strength of presence. They come from their hearts. They have a passion for their lives. They desire to be in a relationship. And they're three men that have had a variety of dating experiences. They've been married. They've been divorced. They're single. They're married. And we're going to just have a guy powwow about women and let you listen in to what's going on in our heads. I think you're going to find that fascinating. All right. So that's our course. Now, in each one of these modules, there are a number of segments. And then after each segment are some questions. They're like essay questions. Some, think about your life, introspect, how do you want to apply this? What actions do you want to take questions? And let me just tell you, the whole money in this thing, the money in this course, if you want to really raise your radiance and you want to evoke full devotion from the man in your life or from the man you're eventually going to attract, it's all in the questions. It's what you do when the camera's off. I'm going to say it to you 1,000 times in this course. Well, maybe not that many times, but it's all about what you do when my face disappears and you're on your own in between the segments. So I cannot encourage you enough to dive in there. Take your time. Don't race through this thing. This ought to take you at least a month to go through this course, at least that long, if you're doing the questions and putting the thought and time into it. And then also in the course, you can email me. You've bought this course, which means along with that, you've bought access to me for email availability. So send me your questions. Send me your thoughts. If you're angry, send me that. But communicate with me, and my commitment to you is to get back to you within 48 hours and answer your questions and support you along the way. All right? So we're going to take our first time out right now in between segments, and you've got some questions. And when we come back, we're going to dive into the next foundational matter. See you in a minute.